Et bonjour à toutes et à tous. Aujourd'hui on se retrouve pour jouer à Stanley Parable, enfin The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe évidemment parce que maintenant c'est une nouvelle version. J'avais joué à ce jeu il y a longtemps et je me suis dit que je pourrais y rejouer vu qu'ils ont ressorti ce jeu avec beaucoup de nouveaux contenus apparemment. Bref, il faut qu'on essaye ça et vu que j'ai plus ou moins réparé mon PC, je pense je peux enfin faire une vidéo. Donc let's go. Alors par contre, il n'y a pas de voix en français, il faudra lire les sous-titres si vous voulez comprendre, ou si vous ne comprenez pas l'anglais.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Donc, voici le jeu. Alors, c'est un jeu où l'idée c'est qu'on va devoir suivre un narrateur, mais on n'est pas obligé de le suivre, c'est ça qui est drôle. Donc là on va faire ce qu'il nous a demandé.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Pour montrer le jeu, je vais faire la plus simple évidemment. Je sais pas combien de temps cette vidéo va durer, mais je vais faire beaucoup de fins.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
J'ai pas trop envie de parler pour pour les quelques premières fins parce que faudrait qu'on écoute quand même la narration. Ou en tout cas la lire.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons,
Bien sûr, au hasard.
Stanley happened to input the correct
Évidemment, on les a
code
clairement
by
mis au
sheer
hasard.
luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Donc je vais pas trop parler au début, en tout cas pour éviter.
Descending down into the building, Stanley realized he felt a
Déranger
bit
la
peculiar.
narration.
It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
C'est un peu dark.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Escape. Un choix très très difficile.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself.
On peut
Did he
tomber
have
ici.
the strength
C'était
to
un
find
bug.
out?
Enfin, c'était un bug, un truc pas prévu par les développeurs pendant le dans le jeu original.
Now the monitors jumped to
Mais
life.
il se passe un
Their
truc
true
maintenant
nature
quand on
revealed.
tombe.
Each bore the number of an employee
plus
in the
tard.
building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Par contre, ce que je peux montrer, c'est un petit easter egg ici.
It was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Petit easter egg ici. Il faut attendre un peu plus. Allez. On attend. Non, toujours pas. Pourquoi ça ne fonctionne pas? Peut-être que c'est parce que c'est la... Je sais pas, je ferai ça plus tard.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
C'est très noir. J'ai peur. Ah, enfin pas vraiment, parce que je connais déjà cette fin, c'est la plus
And a
simple.
rising chill of uncertainty.
Donc forcément.
Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Donc, pour ceux qui n'auraient pas lu les sous-titres ou ne comprennent pas l'anglais, Basiquement, enfin, il n'y a pas besoin de lire les sous-titres en fait. Je vais dire on s'est échappé, mais forcément ça se voit. Donc, si nous continuons maintenant, je vais essayer de commenter un peu plus.
All of his
Donc là,
co-workers were gone.
ce qu'on peut faire, c'est
What could it mean?
totalement ne pas l'écouter.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Si on a
Perhaps he
vraiment
had
envie,
simply
on peut ne
missed a
pas
memo.
l'écouter du tout. Faire l'inverse de tout ce qu'il nous demande. Ça, c'est le futur.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Non.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he
On
wasn't
était si
5 years
mauvais.
ago.
J'adore cette phrase.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley.
Ici, on peut sauter sur
Someone
le
you've forgotten
passage.
about. Please,
Mais je vais pas faire ça tout de suite.
stop
Je vais leur
trying to
montrer un
make
autre
every
truc.
decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your... Oh, no, you can't...
Ah, j'adore être
That wasn't
le
supposed
pire
to be
des
a choice.
connards
How
dans
did
ce
you
jeu.
do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or do
Juste faire quelque chose, juste. Question de... Voilà.
you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person.
J'adore cette
But if
vidéo.
used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic.
Bien
If
sûr.
you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real.
Mais jamais.
Allow
Cette
the
personne n'est pas
person to
vraie.
finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
Non.
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day.
Au moins
Do
8
you
choix
make
par
more
jour,
than
les
8?
enfants. Attention.
Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Welcome back.
Ah.
You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been.
Je savais même pas que je pouvais monter là-dedans, let's go. Non, je suis resté là. Bon. Je pourrais montrer un easter egg encore, mais... Oh, un bug graphique. Intéressant. Mais je ne vais pas le faire. En tout cas pas maintenant.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Alors, là on retourne en arrière pour pouvoir refaire nos choix. Sauf que bon, on sait bien que ça va pas être aussi simple que ça.
You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
En fait, je sais ce qui se passe si on retourne sur la droite.
Now remember, all you need to do is
Et puis on va sur la gauche. Mais si on va directement sur la gauge, je me demande si ça change quelque chose. Du coup, je vais tester d'aller directement sur la gauche.
I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Suivons ces instructions. Ok, d'accord. Donc si on va directement sur la porte de gauche, en fait, tout ne casse pas. En fait, si on allait sur celle de droite, tout cassait un peu, et bref. C'est... Ok. Je peux même pas l'eau. Oh non. Oh, ça nous force à faire les... Oh, oh non. On peut même plus aller là. Et où est le fun? Attendez une minute, c'est pas normal ça. C'était pas comme ça avant.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Alors, requin nocturne 115. Je ne pense pas que c'est censé fonctionner.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
On va pas avancer comme ça. Hein.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
La question que je me pose, est-ce qu'il y a quelque chose derrière cette porte? Parce que Tu sais qu'il y a pas mal de secrets dans ce jeu.
Okay, fine. You're not
Et
gonna do
est-ce que
it.
c'est
But
totalement
you know
scripté
what?
ou est-ce qu'il y a vraiment quelque
It's
chose
pretty
derrière?
humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak.
Il est un peu
Say something
énervé,
to
je
me.
pense.
Explain yourself, you coward. You
Il...
behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Non.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Donc c'est donc ça qui se passe quand on va dans la porte à droite. Et du coup, voilà ce qui arrive.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what?
Je suis pas sûr
What
qu'il
did
y a
you get
moyen
out of
d'aller
that?
là-bas, mais je
What
suis
did you
pas
think
sûr.
was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do?
Allez, c'est
Even
bon le
if there
faire.
were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't
Ouais,
erase
ça a
that
pris un peu
knowledge.
cher,
I'll
hein,
have to
je
live with it
pense.
forever. Reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer?
Le jeu a
What do
pris
I
cher.
do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Ah, c'est un peu flippant.
Oh, I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story.
Je me sens très mal pour le narrateur
If
quand
you'd
même.
just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make...
Ah.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors.
Et là ça devient un peu méta. Notre personnage est là. Mais
Stanley?
il bouge plus.
Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door.
C'est
Are you listening
c'est
to
un peu
me?
triste.
Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me?
C'est très triste.
You're listening to this?
Non, mais c'est horrible.
Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right.
C'est déprimant.
I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do.
Non, narrateur.
Take as much time as you need.
Non. Pauvre narrateur. Ok, donc ça c'était une autre fin, c'était une fin un peu déprimante, un peu triste. Mais c'est pas grave, on va en trouver des meilleurs.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
En fait... Non, non, je ferai ça plus tard, c'est pas grave. Oh, le nouveau contenu.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Donc ça c'est la partie qui a été... Ça va être une partie massive qui a été ajoutée du coup avec la réédition du jeu. Ultra deluxe. Et ça va être génial.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra
Ça
Deluxe.
fait déjà 25 minutes que
As
je
you may
record.
know, the Stanley
J'ai baissé un
Parable
peu le
was a
son du
video
jeu.
game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new
La
content
seringue.
that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on
Bon
here?
bah on est coincé là.
Should we be moving somewhere or... oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Ouais. On peut enfin sauter dans le jeu. Ouais. C'est pas ça. Je vais le garder parce que on pourra l'utiliser plus tard pour faire quelque chose. Vous comprendrez.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive.
Non,
It's
vraiment.
just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content?
Ouais, pour 10 € de plus, vous pouvez sauter dans un cercle, je veux dire, moi ça me va. Hein.
Dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Merci d'avoir aimé le nouveau
Oh,
contenu.
you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please
Il y a en effet
ignore."
un succès qui
What
dit ça.
quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally. It's my
Bon,
fault,
attention, je vais le
Stanley.
tweeter.
I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Alors, en fait, si on avait le choix. Ouh, ça c'est pas normal. Ça c'est pas normal ça.
Psst. Stanley,
J'ai toujours voulu
come
savoir.
over
Est-ce qu'il y a quelque
here.
chose ici?
In the vent.
On peut
I want
continuer
to
ici.
show you something.
Je savais même pas. Genre parce que du coup j'ai reset mes données de sauvegarde, mais je suis déjà arrivé ici, j'ai déjà été là-bas, mais je ne savais pas qu'on pouvait continuer. C'est quelque chose que j'ai jamais pu faire. J'aimerais voir ce qui se passe quand on continue.
You don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
On est qu'un débile. C'est sympa ça.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on
Ok, donc en fait
his
là je pense
This
qu'il
was
redevient
not
juste
the correct
normal.
way to the meeting room,
Je
and
pense que je
Stanley
redeviens
knew
juste
perfectly
normal après
well.
ça.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first.
Ok
just
d'accord,
to
c'était juste pour
admire it.
tester le jeu, savoir. On va
Wow.
faire une autre fin du coup.
Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Non, moi je fais quelque chose de différent.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear,
Ce qui est bien c'est qu'on peut jouer à ce jeu juste avec une souris, j'ai même pas besoin de mon clavier en fait. Parce que j'ai vu ça dans les options tantôt, je venais de m'en rendre compte en fait. Et si on appuie sur les deux boutons de la souris en même temps, on peut avancer.
Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Ah non.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Je pense que quelque chose de bizarre est censé se passer là. C'est la... on n'a plus l'accès au nouveau contenu, ok. Ouais.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
C'est... Ouais, c'est... J'adore la géométrie non euclidienne, hein. Toujours un plaisir ça. Je pense qu'on est un peu paumé là.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before.
Pire aventure, évidemment.
Do we need to restart the game again?
On est où
Well, I
là?
find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over
Je suis
again.
confus.
But it's got to be better than this.
Oh.
Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Ah, vas-y, il se passe quelque chose. Non, j'avais trouvé quelque chose. J'avais trouvé quelque chose. Non, j'ai jamais vu ce couloir dans ce... Ok, c'est pas grave.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Il n'y a plus de porte, évidemment.
Okay, yep,
Logique.
it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Je pense pas qu'on ait raté quelque chose, hein.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes.
La bonne géométrie.
No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Ouais.
Now this...
Sympa l'histoire.
Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct?
Il a soudainement Alzheimer,
Do
attention.
you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
Ouais.
I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart.
Oh. Ma partie préférée de ce
All
jeu.
right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Est-ce que j'ai essayé de ne pas suivre la ligne? Qu'est-ce qu'il y a sur la dessus? Ah bon, on se retrouve sur...
No, I'm down. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
D'accord. Suivons la grande ligne d'aventure. Stanley Parable trademark.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the
Moi
act of
j'explore, hein.
moving
Moi
forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being
Ah, la
by the
bonne
very
géométrie dans
manifestation of the
l'Euclidienne.
nature of life itself?
Toujours un
Okay,
plaisir.
Stanley, I need
Se
to follow
téléporter
this train
soudainement.
of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence
suivre la ligne.
rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Oui. Vers l'aventure, tout le monde. Oui. Non mais... Mon cerveau, stop.
Wait, cut the music.
No.
Go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Faut s'en souvenir tout le monde. Ceci est très important pour le futur. Et on ne la reverra jamais.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Aïe.
Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Bon bah c'est triste un peu hein.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. all, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Ouais.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh no, not you again. Stanley,
J'aime bien quand ils ont mis un
I'd like to
trademark
leave
sur le
the
toit
line
dans
from
les,
having any role in
dans
our
les sous-titres.
awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it. We should be fine.
Je vais le acknowledge la line, c'est le meilleure partie de ce jeu, oui. C'est vrai, moi je trouve qu'il n'y a pas vraiment de soundtrack du jeu, ça rend un peu...
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin.
Bien
So
sûr.
starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Ouais,
What's this?
ça fait... Non, ça fait 17... Non, c'est pas possible.
You're telling me
Non,
this is? It's
non.
all one giant ending?
Ça fait...
Am I supposed to
Non.
restart the game eight times?
41 minutes. Aïe, aïe,
That's
aïe.
really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according
C'est
to
tout ce
the
qu'on a
schedule,
fait.
I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this. This
Errer dans les
thing.
ténèbres, trouver un
Whoa.
libraire,
Well,
une librairie,
who consulted me?
s'ennuyer et partir, le
Maybe
narrateur
I'll get to
relance le jeu.
decide.
Oui, tiens, le
Maybe
narrateur est
I
parti
get
au
to
bout d'un
say
long
all
moment,
of this.
Stanley meurt.
Then-
Aïe,
No,
non.
it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree?
Ouais, bien sûr.
I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
Ça m'a fait peur. Le bruit m'a fait peur. Ah, ok, du coup là on peut continuer du coup parce que on est sur une... on n'est plus sur une fin qui est scriptée. Donc maintenant on va suivre le narrateur du coup.
Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Ça va être une de mes parties préférées du jeu. Parce que la Adventure Line c'était ma partie préférée du jeu de base. Parce que la musique... Mais là c'est plus spécial, vous allez
Okay,
voir.
you
Ça
remember
va être
how cheap
génial.
and unsatisfying the new ultra deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it
le
away
lien
here
Dark
where the
Souls,
game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Ce sera notre petit secret. Flashback du
I
JDG.
call it the memory zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
C'est tellement un endroit beau cette zone, je la trouve. Et en plus on peut y accéder qu'une seule fois dans le jeu. À moins que on remet nos trucs de sauvegarde à zéro, on peut y accéder qu'une seule fois. Et c'est tellement beau.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful
Donc ouais,
Stanley
le Stanley Parable
Parable was
originel
before
était
it was
sorti en
solid with a
2013, donc
cheap
vous n'aurez pas compris.
re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally
Stanley
launched?
Parable.
Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Good times. Leur premier dollar. Cet achievement. Les pires achievements. J'ai léger doute sur tout ça. Ça aussi, je pense pas que c'est arrivé. Ça, c'est arrivé, c'est une des fins. Oh, on peut pas se mettre sur le banc. Dommage.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the
Alors,
Stanley
j'avais
Parable.
compris pourquoi cette
Like
musique était
the
en français dans
stunning
le jeu.
triumph of games journalism.
Alors, elle est en
10
français
out of
même
10
quand on met
from
le jeu en anglais. donc.
Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that,
À
Stanley?
peine,
Every game ever created.
à peine abusé.
That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It
Bien
was
sûr.
all of them. And now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable
C'est
anymore.
clairement Skyrim à quoi on
It's
joue
just
là.
a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Mais... Personne ne veut dire, ça c'est nous. Bouton on off, ouais. Hein. J'ai du mal à comprendre ce que c'est.
Here's another moving passive.
Oui,
This time from
les textures
GameSpot.com.
des...
The Stanley Parable
du sol
is
du
both
jeu.
a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most
Source.
enjoyable, surprising,
Ah, mais je pense que
and
c'est un
rewarding
source
choices
editor, en
I've
fait, là.
ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone. To spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
La Sirius Room. Est-ce qu'on peut pas vraiment y accéder? Mais je vois... Mais non. Si, on aurait... Oh, je viens de penser à un truc. Ok, donc en fait, si on reset le game manuellement, en faisant ceci, en cliquant cette option, dans le cercle de saut, en fait, on garde l'habilité de sauter dans tout le jeu. Et si on pouvait sauter ici, je pense qu'on aurait pu aller dedans. Il y a un truc à voir, il y a un truc à faire, il y a une possibilité là, il faudrait que je fasse ça de mon côté.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before.
Ah non.
What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam.
Oh no.
Online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Bien sûr.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to
Non,
insert
la
into
même
the
horizon
Stanley
était si
parable,
jolie.
but the game is already such
No.
a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Non. C'était si beau.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Non, 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 non. C'est pas vrai.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Ça, c'est impressionnant. Wow.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people, and if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around.
Je vais voir combien de temps il peut parler.
Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue. And
Il l'a déjà commencé.
The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of
C'est horrible.
at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000
Qu'est-ce qui
years.
se passe? Mais
Just
qu'est-ce qu'il
yesterday,
dit?
here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than for...
Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto.
Ok, j'ai compris, c'est bon. Hop, voilà.
Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how
Oh
Steam
non.
works. Perhaps that would have been a smart thing to check on before I went about this whole skip
Bon.
button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes. It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it. And
Oui.
Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go?
Ah
Was there a
merde.
door that led into this room?
Ah merde.
I don't feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door.
Non, j'ai pas envie de
Window or
skip.
something like that.
Non.
You see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall? Is there any possibility that you could, say, slam your body into the wall until enough damage is done for you to be
Oui,
able to leave?
je vais le
Please,
faire.
I'll take any option at all. I'm asking you to work with me here. We need a door. We need a door of some kind. I can work with any kind of door as long as it can open and lead
Je vais
from one
rester jusqu'à
room
ce qu'il
to
finisse de
another.
parler.
I'm going to step away for just a moment, and I'm going to try to find us a door. I don't know how exactly to remove a door and place it in a different wall, but I will find a way, I promise. You just need to not do anything. Don't press the skip button.
Ah ok, il va plus rien
Please
dire, on va
do
être obligé
not
de skipper.
press the skip button. Just wait here for me, and don't press the skip button. Got it? Yes, good. I'll be right back.
Bon, je pense pas qu'attendre va faire quelque chose.
Stanley, please don't push the
12
button
heures.
again. It's been 12 hours.
Elle est où la
You've
porte,
just
hein?
been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button.
Bon, bah, tant pis, hein, plus le choix.
Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back.
Non.
Goodness, I have
No.
someone to talk to again.
Non.
Stanley, I think it's been a week.
Une semaine.
Or 2
Ça va encore.
I've been sitting here all that time.
Ça va
just
encore,
sitting
c'est
here,
pas...
not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how...
Oh non.
Oh, hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time.
Je me sens tellement mal.
Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the
Mais on n'a
past.
pas le choix.
And when that
C'est
feeling
trop
had begun to
triste.
subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight
Oh,
and disgust.
c'est trop long. J'ai pas ton temps.
simultaneously.
Ça fait déjà 1 heure que je recorde. Il est même plus là. Non. Il y a un bruit de train. C'est pas normal. Ah. C'est... Où est le narrateur? Je veux le narrateur, s'il vous plaît.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to
Ça
the
doit faire des
human
centaines
condition.
d'années hein, qu'on est
Where
parti à
are the
ce...
jokes?
C'était
There
à
are
1
jokes,
an,
baby
c'est
man.
passé
They
genre à
screamed, they gnashed
10
their
ans,
teeth,
ouais, 100 ans.
entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs down review and make all of...
Je me sens mal pour le narrateur. C'est triste.
the end, is never the end, is never the end, is
Ça c'est
never
pas
the
très,
end,
c'est pas très rassurant
is
ça.
never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the
C'est,
end, is never the
c'est pas très
end,
rassurant.
is never the
Je veux
end,
dire
is
que,
never the end, is-
ah ben on va se noyer, c'est sympa ça. Oui bon, oui, bien sûr. Je commence à légèrement paniquer. Ça doit faire des milliers d'années là qu'on est parti. Oh, c'est joli. Mais le narrateur est mort. C'est pas très joli. Eh ouais, on est parti tellement longtemps qu'au final il n'y a plus rien. Non. Et là maintenant j'ai très peur. Ah, ce genre de bruit. Oh mon dieu, non. Oh. Mes yeux! Ils brûlent! Il y a l'air d'avoir des trucs là-bas loin, mais je pense que c'est juste des nuages. J'adore cette atmosphère. La musique va très bien avec aussi. C'est un peu triste. C'est une fin assez mélancolique. Attends, on n'est plus là. On n'est plus là. Plus personne n'est là. Tout recommence comme si de rien s'était passé. Parce que c'est logique.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ah!
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until
Par contre là, juste pour ceux qui ont besoin de sous-titres.
he heard this narration.
Non, non, c'est dégueulasse. Ouais,
And realized it was
non.
part of the game's design all along. He then
Pour ceux
played
qui
the
regardent
game
ça la
with
nuit,
insightful and
je vous
witty
plains, hein.
commentary into the
Vous allez
nature of
brûler.
video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So,
Vos yeux,
now
brûlez
that
vos
you're
yeux.
here, what do
Pas,
you think?
pas brûler,
Isn't
non.
this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Non.
Ah, then in that case we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend?
Non, sors de ma tête.
All the narration. Oh, and this is rich.
Je ne ferai pas
You
tout.
just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue
La
on your
meilleure,
first playthrough,
c'est
how
le oui, parce qu'il
tantalizing it would be
chante.
not knowing
Je
what
pense que c'est le oui
happens
qui
when you
chante.
pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other options so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Ouais, j'aurais dû dire oui parce qu'on entend chanter, c'est ça qui est bien, mais...
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
J'ai peur. Ce genre de phrase me fait peur. Il y a quelqu'un derrière vous, vous vous sentez suivi. Oh. C'est que si je tourne assez vite. On peut faire cette part. Bon, on peut aller voir le new content. Et je pense que c'est ce qu'on va faire et puis je vais arrêter.
Good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
C'est parti. Le vrai nouveau contenu. Le futur.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say
Aussi, je vais remettre le truc comme ça.
we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time
J'adore
ever,
cette musique.
the Stanley Parable 2.
Ouais!
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really. Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
Ouais! On va entendre mon nom.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Jim. Isn't that... Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim.
Ah.
Of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience.
Je suis Jim.
Just play along. I promise you'll love
Je
it.
m'appelle Jim.
Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I
Bonjour,
want you
je
to
suis
imagine
Jim.
yourself- Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Ouais!
I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim,
No.
then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first.
J'ai envie de m'ennuyer.
Allow yourself to become
Laissez-vous envahir par Jim.
Imagine
Oui.
yourself driving to work as Jim, playing frisbee on the weekends as Jim, Staying up all night for a pop? All right, fine, whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy now? Get out of here.
Oh, j'adore être
You
connard.
made me in front of a different feature that I worked very hard on. Maybe I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable too. They would appreciate what I've created here.
Le screenshots. On rentre dans les NFT
Okay,
là.
I'll be honest, I
C'est...
haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
Ouais.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
Un achievement gratuit.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken.
Bien sûr.
I'm not a wizard, Stanley.
Forcément,
But I guarantee it will be fixed
ça
in this
fonctionnera.
to at last
Avec un peu de
satisfy the
chance.
hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we here. What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Surrounding area. La zone. Le fameux trou sans fond. Regardez, c'est simple, c'est profondeur, espace, on sait pas, science, plus tomber, infini, plus de trous. Trou. Semble logique.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Ok, en fait, il y a un easter egg. Le problème, c'est que si je fais cet easter egg, je vais devoir recommencer toute cette zone, ce que je n'ai pas forcément envie de faire. Mais je peux aller une fois dedans, forcément. Ça devrait pas être un souci.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
Non. Moi, je veux pas.
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You
Just
found
the
me out,
two of
Stanley.
us.
I'm a liar and a cheat.
We
and you're
can
so
make it
clever.
if we try.
Look, I think the issue here
J'adore
is
cette
just
musique.
that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, Things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the whole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead.
Il y a aussi problème avec le nombre de...
To warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Building castles in the sky. Just the two of us. Elle est trop... genre, ce jeu m'a fait redécouvrir cette musique. En fait, ce qu'on peut faire, c'est retomber dans le trou. Il deviendra de plus en plus court et au final, il deviendra tellement court qu'en fait, c'est même plus vraiment un trou. Et genre, bref, il se passe un truc et on sera coincé dedans. Et on est obligé de restart. J'ai pas envie de restart.
You know what, Stanley? I actually think the jump circle was a pretty good idea. I'd like to hang on to that for the sequel.
Est-ce que je dois vraiment le refaire? Est-ce que je dois vraiment le refaire? Est-ce que je dois... En fait, il y a l'achievement pour changer tous les sliders du jeu. De 0 à... Non, en tout cas j'ai déjà l'achievement pour ça, je sais pas. Non, on est bon. Nos screenshots, on va tout screenshotter les gars. Epilogue.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the... well, we'll figure that out later.
Il y a même plus de travail qui a été vite dans le second, on trouvera ça plus tard, c'est pas grave. Trop presque ça. Paramètres champignons, mais je pense que je viens de le faire. Hein.
This is a man named Stanley. This is the story of a man named...
On va le faire. Hein. Y'a plus rien. Normalement là dans... Mais après je sais pas, c'est peut-être juste quand on a l'achievement. Mais du coup je l'ai en fait. Mais vu que j'ai remis à 0, je ne peux plus le ravoir. C'est seulement quand on l'obtient qu'on peut faire ça, du coup je sais pas. En tout cas ça donne un truc inutile mais c'est pas grave. On a oublié d'aller voir le Reassurance Bucket. Des plus grandes parties de ce jeu. En tout cas après ceci. Je ferai un deuxième épisode dessus pour montrer toute la suite avec tout ça.
That it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I am happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting
Ouais.
of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps
Le bucket.
even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
Yes.
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person.
Ouais, les gars, n'oubliez
The
pas.
benefits of the bucket
N'oubliez,
go on and
n'oubliez
on,
jamais.
don't they?
Toujours avoir
All
un
this
saut sur
and
vous.
more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Non, juste un bucket. Tout le temps.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Unintended. Des collectibles. Ouais, des trucs à ramasser.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video
Oh.
game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Ouais.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
On a tout fait. Normalement. À part l'histoire avec le trou, mais ça je ne vais pas le faire du coup. Oh, aujourd'hui en tout cas.
Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now? So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay, are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Ouais. Ça m'a pas l'air très...
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do it.
Il est abandonné très vite.
Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Il y a 2
Who am
achievements
I
gratuits
kidding,
maintenant.
Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything.
Coup
I
dur.
wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect.
C'est le même truc que dans
With
l'intro.
care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
C'est parti. Ouais. Et ouais, maintenant on a un meilleur menu. Et c'est pas tout. Mais je pense qu'on va devoir s'arrêter ici pour aujourd'hui en tout cas. Parce que... J'ai quand même vérifié que... Oui, j'ai rien raté. Oui, c'est bon. On connaît l'histoire, elle ne change pas. Mais maintenant il y a des ballons. Il y a tous les trucs qu'on a vus. Donc écoutez, je pense qu'on va s'arrêter ici pour aujourd'hui. Parce que ça commence à faire... beaucoup, 1h23 et bon, ça doit peut-être être un peu ennuyant mais bon, 1h23. Je ferai une deuxième vidéo dessus. Je ferai plus de fin et je montrerai un peu tout le nouveau contenu avec du coup tout ce qu'on a vu là. Et donc voilà. Salut tout le monde.